In this lesson, we will begin to explore the render workspace. We'll start by creating a new design from the FSAE steering wheel render file. Once that's open, switch to the render workspace. As soon as the render workspace opens, things will begin to change. At the bottom of the screen is the rendering gallery. Since this is a new file, no stock renderings have been created yet, so they will begin to generate on the cloud and download in the preview area when they're complete. We will begin by setting up the scene. To start this process, click the Scene Settings tool. The scene settings control the lighting, background, and camera options for the rendering. The scene setting properties are on the right side of the screen, and while it is a simple dialog, there are a lot of options. First, we will change the background option to environment. A solid color can be useful, especially using something like a white background to capture images for printed materials, but the environment option gives a lot of richness to the rendering. Now, switch to the Environment Library tab. There's a library drop-down that allows you to select from the Fusion 360 library or to pick environments that are already connected to the design. As we scroll down, we see that some of the options have a down arrow next to them. These are rendering environments that are not automatically installed, but can be downloaded by selecting the arrow icon. Anytime you see an icon like this, if you click on it, it will be added to your Fusion 360 library. This is the same for the appearance overrides we will work with in another lesson, as well as the scenes. You'll also notice that the renders are starting to populate in the render gallery at the bottom of the screen. The ones that are not yet complete will display status bars, and when they're complete, you will be able to see a thumbnail of the image. These renderings are generated automatically based on the first version of the file. If one of the views or a view that you create later is compelling, you can drag it to the left and have it updated every time you save. We will explore render settings later, but it's good to know that these automatic scenes are generated. In the Environment Library, I want to use a warm light option. I can double-click on it, or click and drag it onto the canvas, or onto the current environment field at the top of the Scene Settings dialog. When it is loaded in the scene, you will see the changes in the appearance of the model and the environment around it. With the scene selected, let's go back to the Settings tab. There are multiple options for ground display and camera settings, and if we find a combination of environments and settings that we like, we can save them as the default so that future designs will automatically have these scene settings in place. Now let's take a look at the camera settings. The current setting uses perspective with orthofaces, which is based on the current setting of Fusion 360. Using the pull-down, we can change the option to simply be perspective. Next, we will change the focal length of the camera to 60 millimeters. Take care not to press enter because this will close the dialog. The aspect ratio is currently set to be the same as the viewport, but for the images that we need to produce, let's change this to a 16:9 widescreen format. There are other options in here that we will explore in later lessons, but for now, let's close the dialog and save the file.